What's up, everyone? Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Isaiah Copon. It's December 9, 2024, and this is Lift and Learn episode 136. In this episode, I'll talk about how you can reverse the effects of upper cross syndrome. Pretty much all of us have some form of this because of our growing sedentary lifestyle. If you have a desk job, being on the phone too often, And then I'll talk about the benefits of Pilates. Before that, though, I'll talk a bit about what I've been up to lately, and that might include fitness-related topics, and it might not. If you want to follow me, your host, on Instagram, it's isaiah.copon, and you can also check out my website, isaiahcopon.com. The podcast is on Instagram, at Lift and Learn Podcast, on Twitter, at Lift and Learn Pod, and also on Facebook. You can just search Lift and Learn Podcast. With that being said, let's get into it. All right. See, I am back 2 weeks in a row. I'll probably drop another episode next week, then take that Christmas week off before we start the new year off properly. I do want to re-record this intro and outro bits eventually. Anyways, past week for me, let's see. Okay, so last weekend it was Black Friday in the US, and oh boy, did it snow that weekend. Didn't know if the Tesla would make it, but here we are. The family went down for a Bills game. Well, I didn't really go. I was stuck at Target, but the Bills did win big. And I finally got some new basketball shoes just in case I do get to play more basketball. I played, I don't know, maybe that was last week. Yeah, and I did decently well, although I probably shot like 7 for like 50, and that's probably being generous. The cardio definitely needs some work, that's for sure. I was wearing the shoes I just bought. I was wearing them like in the house, making sure they're fine to deal with. They're a little tight. I'll have to get some wide toe box basketball shoes if that's even a thing, but I loosened up the laces and they'll be fine for now as long as I get into the sport again. They'll do the job for $40. Can't really complain. Had to get some Christmas presents out of the way, so I think I did a good job there actually. Went to the store, Primark, and I swear, the past few times I've been there, I'm only looking to shop for myself, but now that I've had my baby girl, times have changed. Really, no matter what store I go into, I always check the baby section to see if there's something I could get her. That's life now. This week, I opened her new toys. It's like a little headband along with a little dumbbell, small little kettlebell, and a mini protein shaker cup. Oh my God, it's so cute watching her play with those. She loves the dumbbell right now. She just grips that thing, starts moving it around. Looks like she's doing some curls and some front raises. Honestly, it's the best. Gotta start them young, right? Yeah, that's really been my week so far. Now that I'm back to work, I'm just juggling that and the home life. In terms of nutrition this week, I started to track my calories, actually weigh things out. So like my macros, I'm paying attention to that. It looks like on average, I'm eating just about 3,000 calories. I think a typical day was right around 3,500 if I don't forget to bring my meals to work. And that gets me around 200 grams of protein, which I'm aiming for 180. So a bit over, and that's fine. 200 grams of protein, 400 grams of carbs, around 100 grams of fat, which for me, fat's usually one where I'm actually too low and need to raise it, but 100 grams of fat for me is a perfect spot. Weighing out my food this week has been a bit of an eye-opener because I was weighing out my rice and I was like, oh my God, I did not realize that was 100 grams of carbs. That's just like a normal amount of rice for me too, to eat like every meal, so I have to pay attention to that one. Plus, my protein was on point without the need for any supplementing, which actually surprised me because it felt like I wasn't having enough, but I guess I was, that's a good sign. So goals for me going forward is to slowly introduce more calories into the diet if my weight doesn't change, especially because I do want to go up in weight to at least 180 pounds right now. I'm like 172, 173, and then I'll evaluate from there. This will help me build more muscle over the next year as long as I can keep up the workout intensity and stick to the plan. That might mean getting up to about 4,000 calories on a daily basis, maybe a little bit higher than that, which honestly shouldn't be a problem if I'm typically having 3,500 right now. My eating window, is like 14 hours because I'm up so early, and sometimes I have no choice but to sleep a bit later because, the baby. But I am cutting off the food around 7 p.m., 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. As long as I eat a bunch of protein in the morning, that usually sets me up for the rest of the day because I don't have to play catch up the whole day. If by 10 a.m. I already had 100 grams of protein, give or take, then I'm just chilling at that point. I've been trying this Magic Spoon alternative because although I did see it at Target on the weekend, I couldn't justify $8.99 for a box. It's like 3 servings or something. I found this other brand called Three Wishes, which is very similar in that it's also a high protein cereal, has those same alternative or the healthier sugar replacements like monk fruit. It was $3 less, so I got 2 boxes of those. It doesn't taste as good. That's a slight negative, but the positive is that I didn't notice that it doesn't stick to my teeth like I remember Magic Spoon would do. Overall, I'm happy with the purchase. I start my day off with a bowl of that, 1.5 servings, along with this protein granola I got and milk. So that's already like 40 grams of protein before like 5 a.m. Big wins to start the day off. And then I go into the eggs and rice and spinach before 10 a.m. For me, that's a good start. Been working great right now. Plus, that's right around my workout schedule. So yeah, things are lining up. The challenge will be what happens when I run out of the cereal, which will happen probably this coming week. I'll have to figure that out when the time comes. And I hate having to buy cashews because to me they seem expensive, but I get to eat that on a somewhat daily basis. I love cashews, but that's a good way for me to increase calories and healthy fats. I just have to make sure to weigh them out because that could be the difference between having 300 calories and over 1,000, which is what I could easily do if I were just eating it like from the actual container. I have to weigh that out along with my sunflower seeds, which I have for the extra fiber intake. If you want to see what my entire day of meals looks like, I'll do like a what I eat in a day post, probably just on my story. If you're watching this on the day this episode comes out, I plan on showing those meals today, which is this episode should come out on Monday, so I'll post that on Monday. Hopefully I remember. Showing you basically all my meals on the gram. You can look for that there if you care about that sort of thing. Nothing mind-blowing with my meals, but in case you wanted to see how I eat, however many calories that I do eat, and different food ideas for you there. Training update, I went a little intense this week. I had basically 5 days off the gym. So when I went back to my regular training, that first day where I did legs, absolutely wrecked me. I did these paused stiff leg deadlifts or RDLs, and I still feel my hamstrings from like 3 days ago, along with the belt squat, which I want to make more use of this year as well. When I did my push day this week, I added an extra set for every exercise, and that was enough to have me sore for a few days after. But that's okay because I had planned off days anyway, so I pushed myself then a little bit more than usual. Question 1. How to reverse upper cross syndrome. This is something a lot of people are suffering from, but might not know the exact terminology, which is okay. It's where you notice people look like they're hunched over or have a forward neck or head positioning. This could be from a bunch of different things, but it's basically from our growing sedentary lifestyle. Lots of sitting, being on the phone or the computer. How many people are affected by this? I actually couldn't really find a legit number because I don't think that's something that has been like truly studied. I do have some numbers here though. If your occupation is a driver, it's around 25%. Housewives are even hovering around 30%, and students have it the worst, along with desk workers, which is around 40%, but that number's growing. I wouldn't be surprised if that's really over 50%. Upper cross syndrome could be a number of different things. It could be an imbalance where there's tightness in the chest and upper back muscles, so pec major, minor, or like even the upper traps. And it could also be weakness in the neck flexors and even lower back muscles. A combination of those factors could be what's leading to forward head posture and rounded shoulders. This could lead to a whole host of other issues, including but not limited to neck or chest pain, breathing issues, muscle weakness, reduced mobility in the shoulders, and even chronic back pain. This is very common for desk workers, where you're sitting for an extended amount of time, not moving enough during the day, and hours of poor posture. This could lead to neck and shoulder pain. Like I said, I've had some clients who have actually gotten tension headaches, and we've alleviated a bit of those symptoms with what I'll talk about today. Again, poor posture, that leads to even worse posture. I deal with this as well. I'm not immune to it. I notice it in my own day-to-day life. This issue can affect things like athletic performance, how you move in general, and could even negatively affect your confidence too. One client I just had this week was asking me if there was any exercises to get taller. Keep in mind, he's like 20 years old, and I basically told him, not really, but you could stand up taller and fix your posture. That could add like half an inch to an inch of height that you already have because you're so hunched forward, you appear shorter than you actually are. That being said, how do we combat this or reverse this? There's a lot of exercises, stretches, or movements you can do, but the thing is, you have to be consistent and persistent when it comes to actually doing this daily, not just once in a while. First off, during daily activities, because that's where most of our time is spent, what you need to do is maintain a neutral spine during daily activities. This means, like I just said, standing taller when you're out and about. Think about the position you're in when you're scrolling on your phone. There's no way you're doing that standing up tall unless your phone is literally in front of your face. Stretches and certain mobility drills that can help this. Movements like the doorway stretch, where you're stretching the chest and shoulder muscles. You could also do a trap stretch. I like to do those with bands. You could also do a child's pose with a side reach, cat cow, thread the needle, wall angels for the shoulders. And you can even use the foam roller as well. You could do thoracic spine extensions and also chest opener movements with it as well. Shoulder CARs, which stand for controlled articular rotations, are also a great one. I was doing that today. During that movement, you're trying to move your shoulder in as large of a range of motion as you can. So for me today, I was just like against the wall, like sideways against the wall, about 6 inches away from the wall. And I'm trying to like move my arm in a circle, basically as big of a circle as I can without twisting and rotating the body. Exercises in the gym that could help would be strengthening the rear delts, so reverse pec deck, reverse flies could also be helpful, along with any other back movements, because you have to strengthen those areas, along with scapular retractions could also be a good one. Obviously, there's a lot of things we can do, and they're a lot better to visualize in video format, but these are things that you can just look up for yourself and try on your own time. Something that could help at home. If you're someone who works on the computer or the desk a lot, an ergonomic desk setup will help. Last time I checked, I think the top part of your monitor is supposed to be like eye level as a base guideline, sorry. Adjust slightly if it feels uncomfortable, of course. A big thing during the day if you're working from home is to use reminders or apps to take breaks and stretch during the day. Just get up and move around a little bit. That might mean taking a break to just walk around, do some of those movements, or honestly, maybe just some neck stretches would be better than nothing. You need to make this a habit, and you can't just do this every other day for like 2 to 5 minutes and expect it to go away. This is a constant battle because everything we do causes us to be in this forward head and neck position. Yes, this is a long process to fix, but it's not impossible. When it comes to correcting this, it's just like working on mobility for any part of your body. At first, you can start off doing it just once or twice a week, but you should be working on some of these movements at least once a day. My usual progression for stuff like this for my clients, I'll run through the exercises with them the first week. They'll do it with me, just with me for the first week. And then the following week, they do it with me twice a week, and then one time on their own as homework. And progressively over the next few weeks, slowly add these into your daily life, working up to a point where you're doing these exercises 3 to 5 times a day. This is where those reminders and alarms can help you to remember to do them. Now, initially, if I told somebody to just do it 3 times a day every day, that's obviously a lot of work to do. So again, baby steps to get to that point. I won't lie, it's boring having to do the exercises, and getting up every now and then is a hassle because you can't beat just lying down or sitting down, just watching Netflix for hours and hours and hours. But you have to do the work if you're serious about wanting to get rid of this. Or maybe not wanting to get rid of it completely, but at least making it better rather than worse over time. It's something to keep in mind next time you're doom scrolling on your phone. Question 2. What are the benefits of Pilates? Oh man, it's funny I'm actually talking about this because for the next 10 to 15, or not even 10 to 15, like 5 to 10 minutes, I'm going to act like I'm some expert, even though I've only taken Pilates for the last 2 weeks and I've only done about 4 Pilates reformer classes in my life. But I've seen the light and I've seen the benefits firsthand. This kind of relates to the last topic because it can increase mobility in your life, and most of us do need more of that with our growing sedentary lifestyles. Pilates can be great for men and women, even though obviously the majority of people who take the classes are women. I think Pilates can be so helpful when it comes to improving posture, core strength, and flexibility. So for those tight bodybuilders out there, listen up. It's almost 2025. It's time to take care of your body. So you have to be more mobile to actually move around, not just to lift as much weight as possible. If you move better, you'll be stronger, plain and simple. So if you've ever gone through a plateau with strength training, it could be because of your lack of mobility in a certain area. You can do floor Pilates or with the reformer, the slidey thing. They'll both be great, but I think the reformer adds some extra challenges that you might not be able to do on the floor, the floor is just a good introduction for anybody. That's where you'll learn the basic movements and how your breathing patterns should be. You can still develop strength doing Pilates. A lot of the bodybuilders out there are like, no, you can't. But yes, you can. Trust me, I can bench press those 120s at the gym too. But when I'm in those classes with those other females, there's movements in there that I definitely struggle with, and it's embarrassing how much I struggle with certain movements. But I just leave my ego at the door, do my best. The thing is, me working on those or improving those weaknesses are only going to make those gains easier to come by when I am strength training. There's been a bit of an athletic movement when it comes to the benefits of Pilates. I remember before this NFL season started, they were showing these big NFL players do Pilates, and they were struggling because it requires a different kind of strength and focus as opposed to just brute force, which is what those guys are used to outputting or using when they're doing their sport. The biggest thing I've found from Pilates is the fact that you can improve your mobility and flexibility. If you take a class, you might notice that there's an emphasis on elongating the muscles. That's what they say. That's because regular practice or regular Pilates practice is to improve joint mobility and strengthening them as well. It's to improve the range of motion, not shorten it like traditional strength training. This can be helpful for everyone, especially older individuals who have joint issues and pains or just overall stiffness throughout the body. For me, I know it's been helping me a lot when it comes to core strength and core control. There's so many movements in Pilates I've noticed where you have to keep your core tight and still while moving your leg back or something like that. But your core, it wants to move around and shift around. So your job in the class is to fight to not do that. It teaches you that core control, which will help you support your spine better, reduce risk of injuries and low back pain, which is a big thing to always work on. This also relates to body awareness, where your body is in space. It's about being mindful and focusing on specific and precise movements during those classes. Again, this will reduce the chances of those strains and minor or even major injuries throughout the body. A big factor I think Pilates can help with is stress reduction and for your mental health. I'm a big believer in Pilates helping improve these things. So you're there in the class. Typically it's calm, intense, but it's controlled intensity, not like in the gym where sometimes you might be pushing so hard that you start to turn red, or maybe hold your breath, or maybe it feels like you're going to pop a blood vessel on the next rep. This is a time where I found someone's guiding you through a class, and a good teacher will challenge you, but you shouldn't be leaving the class to the point where you hate life or are just so sore that you can't continue with the rest of your day. It's a time where you're just, in the zone, focusing on breath work, doing movements properly and controlled, and you're releasing those good hormones and endorphins within the body. It's a great feeling when you find a class and a teacher that works for you. This is a topic I know I'll come back to because I do plan on doing more classes in the future, some more bro-lotties, with the gym crew. That's the plan for 2025. I think it's a great complement to the strength and performance training, and if you incorporate this into your life, you'll also see some of the benefits I talked about today. So if you can, try out a class and let me know what you think. And that concludes episode 136 of the podcast. Thank you for listening. If you really enjoyed the episode or my podcast as a whole, then please leave a review and comment on iTunes or whatever your choice of podcast platform is. Also, if you haven't already, you should hit that subscribe button because I'll be releasing episodes every Friday. If you want to follow me, your host, I'm Isaiah.Copon on Instagram, and you can also check out my website, isaiahcopon.com. If you want to follow the podcast, you can check out @Lift and Learn Podcast on Instagram, and there's also a Facebook page if you just search Lift and Learn Podcast.